everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's gonna be a coffee chat video, so grab your coffee. So for today's coffee chat, I wanted to talk all about my postpartum belly now that I am officially 10 months postpartum. I know I said this in like every postpartum update video, but I truly can't believe my daughter is 10 months. Yeah, I just kind of want to talk all about it because I feel like I'm in such a good place and I want to share it with you, and especially if mommies to be are watching this video and, you know, watching this while you're pregnant, just trying to get some ideas, or if you're currently postpartum, or if you're just curious, because I feel like some of these tips can help anybody that is trying to lose weight, not just postpartum. But then there are some specific things to being postpartum that I want to talk about and address, things that I had no idea about, like ab separation and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and let's get started. So the first thing is I want to talk about when I was pregnant. So when I was pregnant, I remember I was listening to, this was like first trimester, before I even told people I was pregnant. 7 weeks pregnant, I want to make sure I'm eating quality food. I want to make sure I'm eating food that's going to benefit the baby. You guys remember I used to call the baby Dot because we looked at the ultrasound. There's your baby! And I was like, where? And they were like, see that little dot? So I remember I was listening to a pregnancy podcast. They had a doctor on the show and they were saying something like, you don't eat for 2 when you're pregnant. You're not eating for 2, that's what they said. And I used to think when you're pregnant, you're eating for 2. You're eating for you and you're eating for your baby. And so I went to my doctor and I asked her all about it. This was when I had my first doctor before I switched, but I said to her, is that true? Are you really not eating for 2? And she was like, I 100% agree with that. You know, you don't want to overdo it. She also told me, since I am short, I'm only 5 foot, that if I gain too much weight, it could be a problem with my knees. She said that she 100% agreed in eating good quality food and just not overdoing it. So that was the first thing that I think, carrying that mentality throughout my pregnancy, is that I'm not eating for 2. Basically broke it down like your first trimester, you're eating the same. The second trimester, you want to increase it by a snack. And your third trimester, you want to increase it by a meal. So I pretty much stuck to that diet. Obviously, I had ice cream sometimes. Some days we would just have pizza, and then other days I'd be eating super clean. This isn't like a tip or anything. This isn't part of my 5 tips. This is just the mentality that I had during pregnancy, is that I wanted to eat food that was going to benefit Violet and that was going to help with her brain development. So it's not like I ate 100% clean 24/7, but I was definitely 80-20. 80% of my diet was clean and things that I thought were going to benefit the baby, and then 20% we would go out for pizza. So that was the backstory. Now let's get into the 5 ways I lost my postpartum belly. So the first is, when I got home from the hospital, I did have a belly band. So I kind of did my research. I have my whole birth story on my channel and everything, but I did get an epidural, so I wasn't feeling anything, and I did push really hard. She came out in like 15 minutes. She flew out and I gave it my all, but with all of that pushing and pushing ridiculously hard, I really messed up my core and my stomach. And I remember talking to my doctor about belly bands, and he thought it was a great idea. And that's actually how, the only way I was able to hold my baby was wearing the belly band. So I always wore the belly band. The one that I have actually had 3 settings. So it was just like a regular setting, then you can add a second one, make it really tight, and then a third one to make it the tightest. I never ended up wearing all 3. I always just wore the 2. Gives you like that tightness and that strength back. While I was pregnant, this was in my 3rd trimester, I saw my abs split. So some of you guys have asked, did I get diecti recti, I think it's called. We're just gonna call it DR, but it basically is the separation of your abs. And I saw it in my 3rd trimester. I had like this big gap and I just knew that my abs had separated. I was doing a ton of research, and the belly band also helps with ab separation to kind of pull everything back together. And it also helps flush out the extra fluids. I no longer have the ab separation. I do feel like it helped pull everything back together. Tip number 2 is I did breastfeed. I'm actually still breastfeeding. I'm getting close to being done breastfeeding. We are in the weaning process, but a lot of people told me, oh yeah, that helps you lose weight. It helps you burn calories and all that. There's also a catch to it. I didn't know this. Breastfeeding makes you extremely hungry. So thirsty, and you're so hungry. And think about it, your body is making nutrients for your baby. Of course you're gonna be hungry, and of course you're gonna be thirsty. So I've had moms tell me, oh, I gained weight breastfeeding, and then other moms tell me, oh, I weight breastfeeding. It's gonna be really personal to your journey, which it's gonna do and which direction you're gonna go in. So that brings me to my third tip, and that is the Fab 4 smoothie. So during postpartum, I found Be Well by Kelly, who is a nutritionist. She's like a big celebrity nutritionist. So many people follow her. She has a book, which I still need to get. She created the Fab 4 smoothie for a lot of her clients that were trying to lose weight, wanted to feel full. So maybe busy people, busy moms, she's a mom herself, not have to remember like, okay, what kind of food should I put in my smoothie so that I feel full? Or what kind of food should I be eating? Like, she just wanted to make it simple. So the Fab 4 smoothie is protein, fat, greens, and fiber. And you can just pick whatever you want to do, put it all in a smoothie and blend it up. So some of my favorite blends, if you guys go back and watch my postpartum videos.
Okay, so this was actually from one of my postpartum videos, but I would do protein powder, almond butter, greens, non-dairy milk, and flax seeds as my fiber. So I would just add that all in my blender. You can also add things like coconut oil instead of almond butter. You can do chia seeds instead of flax seeds as your fiber. And I would do the same thing, guys. I would just kind of switch it up. I'm still making shakes like this, and they're really delicious. It seems like it wouldn't be because there's no fruit, but I'm telling you, all this together, it's super hearty, and I just love it.
One thing you'll notice is they are fruitless, so it does help with the sugar. She said that if you must add fruit in your smoothie, if you look at this and you're like, I could never, she says just keep it to a 1/4 cup. And her philosophy behind this is when you start your day with a lot of sugar, even sugar from fruit, it raises your insulin and you're just trying to keep up with that all day. So you have a smoothie and then you're hungry like an hour later, 30 minutes later. I swear it keeps me full for like 3 to 4 hours. It's insane. I do have a whole postpartum series, and you will see I made a Fab 4 smoothie every single day. Flax seeds, sometimes I do chia seeds for protein, sometimes I do protein powder, sometimes I would do Greek yogurt, sometimes I would add fruit, sometimes I wouldn't, but that was like a game changer for me. Also, I was losing weight because I wasn't eating like 20 meals, snacking all day, and then having lunch and dinner and then a second dinner. It kept me on a food schedule, and it was just simple. Like, okay, in the morning, that's one less thing to think about. That brings me to my fourth tip. I started adding some low carb dinners into my diet. So I am 100% not low carb. However, I do add low carb lunches or low carb dinners into my weekly like food schedule. If I'm eating a lot of carbs, I notice that I have more water weight, I bloat more. So one thing that really helped, and I also did this when I got home from the hospital, is Green Chef. So this video is actually in collaboration with Green Chef, and I had it yesterday for lunch. I also have it for dinner. Since I gave birth to Violet, I have been doing Green Chef once a month, and I'm still doing it once a month. And they have a bunch of different plans. They have paleo, they have vegan, they have vegetarian, they have keto, but I like to do the keto one because I feel like it just gives me so many meal ideas. Even after I make the food and I'm done with it for that month, I save the card, a recipe card, and I save them. And it's something that me and my husband look forward to every single month. We know, like, once it shows up at our front door, we're like, oh right, like, I almost kind of forget about it. I'm like, oh right, it's a Green Chef night. Yeah, if you guys are new to a Green Chef, it's a meal kit delivery service, which means it's gonna come straight to your front door. Green Chef is a USDA certified organic company, and their meals are so, I always say this, but like, there's no other way for me to describe it. They're so vibrant and colorful. Like, you could see this one that I had for lunch yesterday. It's step-by-step, easy to follow instructions, and the instructions do have photos, so you could just see how everything is looking. Trying to lose a little weight or just make your life a little easier knowing that you do have a meal showing up that you get to put together, and you get to do the fun part. You get to put all the meals together. So if you guys do want to give Green Chef a try,
just go to greenchef.us/90samo and use code 90samo to get $90 off, including free shipping on your first box.
So yeah, that was a huge component of my postpartum weight loss journey, is that I was making my Fab 4 smoothies. I was having low carb meals for lunch or dinner in the mix. Like I said, I wasn't keto or anything like that. Okay, then we're coming up to my last tip, but after my last tip, I realized I want to add a bonus one in there for when you are able to work out. I know in the beginning you can't work out for the first is it 6 weeks or 8 weeks? I don't even remember now. That time like flew by. But these were all the things that I was doing, especially like fresh from the hospital. But then I am gonna talk about the workout part towards the end. I just didn't make that a tip because I know that some people aren't able to work out right away, or if you get a C-section or something like that. I just wanted to share tips that can really help you if you're not able to work out, or if you're just not feeling it or feeling sore. I totally get it. So my last tip is I did go dairy-free. So I went dairy-free because my daughter had colic and she was just crying a lot. So we were breastfeeding and I noticed she'd get gassy. We would do gripe water and that would help a lot too. Gripe water was like a lifesaver. But I wanted to know like what else could I do? So my mother-in-law actually told me this when I was pregnant. She was like, when you get home from the hospital, go dairy-free. And I was like, I love dairy. I don't know if I can do it. Like I love cheese. And my mother-in-law had 5 kids. So Jared is one of 5 and she had to go dairy-free when she was breastfeeding. So she gave me the idea. The first month in, I realized like, wow, dairy is definitely affecting her. Dairy stays in your system for so long. So to actually get the results that your baby is crying less and that it's affecting her less and affecting her tummy and all of that, you have to really stick to going dairy-free for like 17 days before you even see results. It's a lot. Like you have to really try, but it's all worth it because then your baby is feeling better and her tummy wasn't hurting and she wasn't having colic and she wasn't gassy and she wasn't just crying all the time. It was really nice. So I went dairy-free and I noticed that Violet was loving that. She was thriving on me being dairy-free and I did that for 4 months. So it said that in the beginning when you're breastfeeding, the baby's stomach isn't quite developed yet, or their gut isn't quite developed yet where they can handle dairy. So after the 4 months, you can start adding in dairy again just to see how it goes. And by like 5.5 months, I added dairy back in very slowly and she was totally fine. And this is all my postpartum series, so a lot of you guys probably remember when I was dairy-free. But not only was it helping Violet, the weight was flying off. By the way, I just want to mention, cow's dairy. Protein in cow's dairy is really what bothers babies. So I was able to have things from goat cheeses or goat milks I would occasionally have. I noticed that the weight was flying off being dairy-free because there's only so many options you can have. It eliminated a lot of food out to eat. And I always say this, if you're really trying to lose weight, going out to eat makes things a little tricky because they add more oils, add sugars, and all sorts of things in your food that you don't really know what you're getting. Going out to eat obviously makes things a little trickier, so I wasn't going out to eat as much. So I feel like that really helped too. As far as my weight loss journey goes, is that it was helping Violet being dairy-free, but it was also helping the weight fly off. If anybody's watching this and you're currently pregnant and you're planning on breastfeeding, I highly recommend just going dairy-free now so that it gets out of your system. Maybe like the last trimester going dairy-free, so it's already out of your system, and just start breastfeeding dairy-free. Like these are all the tips that I'm going to be doing if I do have a second baby. The last tip I want to give you is a workout tip. So once you get the clear from your doctor that you can work out, I want you to remember that the workouts you did before pregnancy might not be the best workouts to be doing after, and especially in the beginning, and especially if you got ab separation. I didn't know this, but if you get what I had, the ab separation, there are some workouts and a lot of ab workouts, like pretty popular ones, like sit-ups and certain planks, that will actually make your stomach look worse. It will make that gap get even wider. So you want to do your research on what exercises would be the best. And there's even exercises that make that gap smaller that will help. When I did get the clear to work out, you guys know I did the Tone It Up app a lot. One of the Tone It Up girls, Katrina, she had DR and had the ab separation. So I did one of her postpartum flows, and it was all like safe workouts to do if you do have that ab separation. So the workouts that I'm still doing to this day are resistance training. I found that resistance training was the best way for me to lose weight as well as put on muscle, keep fat off, and all that good stuff. So I like to mix resistance training with some low impact moves as well. I love to walk 10,000 steps. I love to hike, do things like that, and just try to keep active. And then I do like to do resistance training. That is it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out Green Chef. I have an awesome code, so I'll leave all of that down below. And the last thing I want to leave you guys with is something that I heard a long time ago, and it stuck with me, and I love this. you didn't put on all of the weight in a month, you're not going to lose all of the weight in the month. It's going to take months to lose the baby weight. So just something to think about. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.